Hey everyone, and welcome back to another analysis video. We're going on part 2 of Suzie's house, which has a lot of byler coding for some reason, so we're gonna go through it. And a reminder, all of these are from Mike's perspective as established by this over-the-shoulder shot. Back with the Cupid imagery, we have a yellow, red, and green arrow here in the ground. On this side, we see several bikes. It looks like a volleyball net that's like down, and then 2 tents, one's green and one's orange. More on the tents later. Since I mentioned the sun orbs in part 1, in part 2 we see them as yellow and a greenish blue color. Again, could be byler coding, could just be coincidence. In part 1, I talked about how this window could be a possible metaphor for the closet and coming out. I find it fascinating that Mike is the first one to come out of this window and then Will. And I'm wondering if this is a hint of how season 5 is going to go with that whole aspect. And yes, we have Argyle and Jonathan in the window next to them, and I don't think it's the same meaning, only because of how the window was framed before they came out of it, and how it zoomed in on Mike and how it was color-coded in byler. Also notice that Mike was the first one out of this window, and his face is fully illuminated in that light, which contrasts this earlier scene that we mentioned, where everyone behind him was illuminated except Mike. So this is why I think, again, it's a metaphor for coming out. Also, I know this shot is a movie reference, but I can't remember for the life of me what movie reference it is, so let me know in the comments. Back on that arrow pocket thing. Currently, it's pointing at a rainbow poster. Yes, he is looking at Jonathan. However, this is intentional camera work framing here, where his eyes are looking downwards at the rainbow, even though he's not looking at the rainbow. This is an intentional hint. Then this framing is also intentional. As you can see, it's Mike, Will, and the rainbow. And only Mike, Will, and the rainbow. Wonder what that could mean. The Duffers are just going like crazy with the arrow imagery. There's an arrow, a blue arrow behind Will pointing to Mike. Come on. Next, we have Will staring at Mike, Mike looking back at Will, making eye contact, and then both proceeding to gay panic. Further proving the arrow theory in this house, there is an arrow behind Suzie pointing to a picture of Dustin. And then just this blue and yellow lamp casting a half blue, half yellow heart on the roof.
For Dustin's birthday, actually, which is...
You know, we have this line, and then we have this little PSA they posted on Twitter, and sometimes I think maybe them forgetting Will's birthday was on purpose.
Birthday, actually, which is...
In 2 months, 3 days, and 5 hours.
For some reason, I feel like 2, 3, 5 is important, and I can't think of anything except these might be episodes, episode 2, 3, and 5. Going off previous trends in Stranger Things, the number of the episode that corresponds with that season usually has a major byler moment, like episode 1, season 1, Will went missing.
We have to do something. Will can be in danger. I'm the only one that cares about Will.
Episode 3, season 3 was the rain fight.
I'm not gay like you.
I mean, what did you think, really?
Etc. So we can be safe to assume that 5 is probably going to have some major significance, but as for 2 and 3, I'm not 100% sure what those are going to be, but I guess we'll find out if my little theory is right.
Suzie, I don't know what you're doing, but I am not spending my entire day babysitting.
This is a tiny little Steve parallel here with Eden. When Mike goes to look back at Will in this perspective, you can see that Will is highlighted by more light because, again, in Mike's perspective, Will is literally sunlight. To compare, here's the previous shot of them together. You can see there is not as much light behind Will now.
Father could see my soul was tortured and...
While I am a gay Mike truther, I'm not going to ignore these bisexual flag color hairpins in Suzie's hair as she's talking about her soul being tortured. I really need to go through the Wheeler house and find out how religious they are, because there's been some things in Mike-related content that has been hinting towards some religious dilemma when it comes to sexuality.
It's blasphemous. Putting fruit on pizza?
That might be a thing, but I have to really go back and double-check the previous seasons.
Not only was I breaking the law, I was dating an agnostic. An agnostic! I've never seen Father so angry. Mind. I'm as likely to see it again as I am my poor Dusty Bun.
502. So I'm assuming this is going to be season 5, episode 2 is what my guess is here. And that means that this might be something significant with Dustin here because he's right next to this clock. There is a lot of interesting things in this shot, so let me just point them all out. So this is a poster of the Muppets movie, and again, you can see there's rainbow imagery. There's also rainbow imagery on Argyle's socks, which is funny enough because they're placed right between the window and Mike. I'm going to talk about Mike's top again because this top in this particular scene is half blue, half green because of the lighting. And this is yet another visual example of this internal turmoil that seems to be conflicting Mike. And we're assuming it's about his sexuality. So I love this top and I can't wait to fully talk about it in detail someday. Again, an over-the-shoulder shot from Mike establishing his point of view. Once again, Mike's general gaze is in the direction of a rainbow. And then Mike looks away quickly when the lights go on? Like, what? This isn't a coincidence at this point. I literally found the rainbow connection.
Why are there so many songs about rainbows? What's so amazing that keeps us stargazing? Find it, the rainbow connection. The lovers, the dreamers, and me.
Frog face?
Yeah, that's just way too many coincidences to be a coincidence at this point. Mike's bullied name here was Frogface. This song is sang by Kermit the Frog. There's rainbows that he specifically is framed to be looking at. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this one's intentional.
Unless...
Oh, sorry, no, you're still gay. You too will.
Soon after.
Your dad is always mad. You won't have to cry. You hide in the closet.
This scene is shot so interestingly. We have Mike, and it zooms in on mostly Mike, hiding from a father figure. I've already talked about Ted Wheeler's low-key homophobic comments that he's made to Mike in season 1.
You see, Michael? See what happened?
What happens with what? You're the only one that cares about Will.
Our son with a girl?
And if we pull back the camera a little bit, we can see Will Hill on the left very briefly. And I like how they kind of mirror each other here. But again, Mike is the only one that has any sort of light on him. And check out the lighting on his shirt. On Mike's shirt, it literally is the gay flag colors, although reversed from the flag that I'm using here. And then there's also rainbows on the wall. And we know that this top for Mike was custom made for very specific reasons, and the emphasis on lighting being so important from the Duffer Brothers. I think they might have done this on purpose, considering we've seen the shirt change to different colors in different scenes because of the lighting, and now we're having the literal stripes of the gay flag on his shirt. Plus, the arrow on Mike's shirt is literally pointing to an illuminated but closed window. And remember, windows symbolize hope and escape, an alternative path, the unknown, and change. And we've already equated the open window in Suzie's bedroom to be coming out. This one is probably the opportunity, but not taking it. This is likely foreshadowing of what happens later on. Also, these sun rays are artificial because that's not how rainbows look from the sun. This is how rainbows look like from the sun. Which means they likely did this on purpose to make this look specifically like the gay flag colors on that shirt. And you may be wondering, would they be that extra with the lighting? And for that, I will show you Heartstopper. This character is bisexual. At this point in the story, he doesn't know that. The colors flashing across him are the literal colors of the bisexual flag. Pink, purple, and blue. So yes, lighting can be that extra. I'm gonna stop this video here before it gets too long, because there's still a bunch we have to talk about in Suzie's house that is just there's so much symbolism in this house. And we still have a lot to go through. So tune in for part 3, and thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye!
Because it's top secret. That's why we're doing this. Yeah.